Hello, everybody. This is Brett Davis for Brett Davis Unleash. I hope everything is going great today. I'd like to welcome Paul Johnson, of course, and we're going to be talking to him a little bit. He's all the way from the UK. He's with Global Private Equity. And I also have my co-host today.
Hello.
Crystal.
Balk.
Yes, you are.
Don't forget my last name.
No. I don't know why I'd forget. We all have all these Crystals and Kristas, and we get another Krista. We're going to be in, or Crystal, we're going to be in a mess.
No, we're going to make sure. Yeah. No, that's not going to happen.
So, I'd also like to thank our sponsors for the show, Attorney King, Amanpour, also Indian Motorcycle of San Diego, and Cosmopolitan Hotel and Restaurant. Thank you for your support. I'd like to say we're coming from Attorney King Studios in Coronado, and we love being here, and it's a great place. And today, so tell us how, first of all, let's find out how you met Paul. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Oh, funny story. So it was last April, and I already had my business, but I wanted to expand and grow it more, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing it correctly. So I met this gentleman, JT Fox, and in a conference, and I went to his house, and that's where I met Paul, and we had 3 days there, and I had the opportunity to meet this funny guy. Paul was always surrounded by the women, right? They were always around him, surrounded by everybody, and so I want to know, who is this Paul? So Paul had the opportunity to actually talk to my husband, Daniel, who came with me during that time. And then Paul and I reconnected in November when we went to the conference in LA for like a couple of days as well with JT Fox, and they communicated.
So did she say that you were surrounded by a lot of women?
She did. That's exactly what she said, Brett. That's exactly what she said.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
And I'd like to put that onto my Facebook page within about 30 seconds of this podcast ending.
So Paul, what kind of conference was this with all these women around you?
Yeah, it was a business conference. I've just actually seen on Facebook that it was a year ago today that I flew out there. I was complaining about the passport control queues at Atlanta. I flew into Atlanta and then down to Fort Myers for the event. So yeah, it was great. There was around about 50 of us there, and a lovely sort of waterside house in Fort Myers, Florida. It was great. Some great business people there. I think once you've sort of been through an event like that, so close to everybody for 3 days, you build up a bond with quite a few people, and that's what's happened with Crystal and Daniel, definitely.
So how, you said you've been doing what you're doing with Global Private Equity for about 20 years?
Yeah, I've been in the industry 20 years. I bought my first company 20 years ago, and then developed that and sold it on a few years later. So I've worked in 8 different countries. Obviously the UK. I had a company in Spain for 3.5 years. I've worked in Italy, Portugal, USA, Florida actually. Also Morocco, Turkey, and Cyprus. So yeah, I've traveled a lot. It's been a great sort of career the last 20 years. It was 20 years ago. I left a very well paid job, lots of prospects, and to go on my own and to do this. It's been a lot of ups and downs. I went through obviously the 2008 recession, which this reminds me very much of what we're going through right now. I don't think we'll have the issue with the banks this time, but I think there will be a lot of people who get hurt, and I was burnt in 2008. But this time I've been a lot better prepared.
So how does one prepare for something like this? I mean, you did go through 2008. We also went through that, and we took a huge hit, and we went to ground zero. Not as many. I know people that lost thousands of properties during that time.
Yeah.
Personally.
Me too. I think my preparation for this is there's been a lot of rumours flying around in the UK and in the US that there's potentially a recession coming in 2020 or 2021. So without the coronavirus situation, I think we were kind of facing some form of economic collapse or recession either this year or next year. So I think this is just brought it much further forward. So for me, it was staying liquid, keeping some nice cash balances, and also differentiation. So mergers, and diversification. So it's working in line with not staying just in the property. I work in 5 different fields, which is property, businesses, equities, gold, and crypto. So I stay in those 5 areas. So in 2008, as we mentioned earlier, I was just in property. I had a UK property portfolio. I had a property company in the UK, I had a property company in Spain, as I say, operating in 8 different countries. But when the property market crashed and the banks stopped lending, as you said then, I was one of the people that got badly burnt. But this time, if the property market was to crash, I've got with other areas. I'd say the plus staying very liquid with good cash balances in place.
Well, I didn't realize you were involved with so many different varieties of businesses. That's great because when one area kind of has a little bit of a balancing, the other area could be rising. Exactly,
and that's exactly what will happen. I think with the quantitative easing that's happening in the US, it's sort of $2 trillion. Is it 2.2 trillion going to be injected into the US economy? In the UK, it's about 660 billion pounds. In Germany, there's 1 trillion euros being pumped into the German economy. So that will be happening all over the world. It won't just be obviously those 3 countries. So if you look at that amount of cash being injected into the economy, it just stands to reason that the actual value of the currencies should drop. So if the value of the currencies drops, respectively, the value of, say, crypto and gold and other precious metals should be rising.
What's gold at per ounce right now?
Last time I looked, about $1,600 per ounce. Now, I've heard some predictions which are quite wild, but I've heard predictions that can go to $10,000.
$10,000 an ounce is what? $10,000 an ounce.
I have heard predictions of $10,000 an ounce within the next couple of years. So these aren't. I'm not a speculator. I don't do speculative investing. I do value investing. So you got to look at. I don't do day trading. I think that's pure gambling. If you don't know what you're doing, it's pure gambling. I think with gold and with crypto and with properties and with businesses in the UK and the US, I think you've got to look for the value. You've got to look at what a company in reality is worth and what you can actually buy it for. So again, if you're looking at the equity side of things, the way that the stock markets have crashed recently, no human beings have looked at each of those companies. Let's take the S&P 500 for example. No one's looked at those 500 companies and revalued them as of today's date. It's all algorithms. It's all computer-led reductions in valuation. So, as I say, there's no real reduction in value. So you've got to look at. I'll throw one in here at the moment. There's no reason why I won't. But Aston Martin Lagonda, which has just been bought out by a Canadian billionaire, and the rumor is that in 2021 they will have their own F1 team. So you look at the value of Aston Martin Lagonda now as a company and how much it's going to be worth, because obviously it's got the cash balance. People are talking about Carmageddon at the moment because the car industry is going to crash completely. But yeah, at that particular company, you've got to take that forward maybe on discounted cash flows and look at the potential of the business. Now it's got a new owner and with the F1 team next year. The value of that, and then compare that to the stock market value, that in itself is, for me, a very good acquisition right now. But again, is it right now or is it in 3 or 4 weeks? Personally, I'm still holding. I'm thinking the market's got a bit of a way to go yet. But we've had the worst Q1 in history.
Right.
And the predictions are more from Goldman Sachs that Q2 will be similarly bad. But then we will we'll hit we'll bottom out in Q2 and Q3 and Q4 will improve.
What's your thoughts on silver?
Silver as well. I think silver along with gold is a lot cheaper. I'm not sure what the price is today, but it's obviously a lot cheaper than gold. But similarly, any kind of precious metal. I've been offered some diamond rings at the moment, which say same thing with diamonds. Again, you've got to look at all sort of non-cash valuable assets. It stands to reason that they will, or they should automatically go up in value over the next, I don't know, maybe 6 to 12 to 18 months with all the quantitative easing that's going into the market.
There's some things that are really good at Collectibles too, probably like very rare sports memorabilia cards that nobody can get, and probably also things like comics, original comics.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
those will probably sustain their value too, right?
Yeah, of course, and art, paintings, etc. It's the same thing, isn't it? It's sort of as I say, any kind of non-cash asset
And Rolexes.
Oh yeah, and the Rolex, which Daniel Martinez is going to buy me for my birthday. That's really nice of you, Dan. I appreciate that.
He has been obsessing about this Rolex. Like the world's falling apart, and Daniel's looking at Rolexes.
So am I.
He's in good investment.
We're having the biggest watch dealer in San Diego coming on the future show, and he goes and buys Aston Martins right off the assembly line and goes to the areas and buys Rolexes, and he wants to see the product coming off the assembly line. He loves that.
You can be part of it too, Paul. Yeah. You're more than welcome.
Yeah. I'm already there. I'm already there in mind. I'm there. Yeah. I'm with you on that one. Definitely.
So there's probably certain organizations and companies right now that probably are going to excel during this time. I would think probably certain pharmaceuticals probably would do well. Precious metals. What's your take on alternative energy?
Yeah, again, I would look at that not as an industry, but as specific companies. I think you need to, again, not be speculative with these kind of things where you look at, okay, alternative energy as an industry, yes, it's got a lot of potential, but you need to look at specific companies. Same thing with gold mining companies. That's another one we've not touched on. When we're talking about gold, it's not just about the physical gold or the paper gold. You need to look at the actual gold mining company. But again, for the individual companies, so don't just say the gold companies or the alternative energy industry will do very well over the next 12 to 18 months. Look at the individual businesses, do your evaluations on those, and the potential, of course, each one. Because again, within an industry, you can take sort of 2 or 3 different companies within the same industry. Some of them can be very liquid. Some of them can have, great balance sheets, very strong balance sheets. Whereas other ones can be maybe have a bit of a cash flow issue right now. And of course, companies with cash flow issues now are going to struggle in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely. This is probably not a time to get in debt, is it?
No. I mean, the banks will. The banks have got a lot of money at the moment, and they will be lending again. So once this calms down and once the market starts to pick up again, they will be lending.
I've been hearing a lot of the banks are giving money that they shouldn't be printing money they shouldn't be printing right now. The governments are. I hear that there's.
Yeah, absolutely. That's with the quantitative easing. I mean, you take the US initially as an example. That $2.2 trillion. It's not sat in a vault in the Federal Reserve. It's just going to be created from thin air. It's similar with the £660 billion in the UK. That's not sat in a vault in the Bank of England. That's it's just going to be created from thin air. That's what we had back in 2008. But I think the banks have learned the lessons this time. Obviously, a lot of banks just something have to be bailed out. Certainly in the UK and the US as well, of course. I don't think we'll see that this time with banks, but I do believe they will be lending. It's not like the banks will stop lending as they did in 2008. I think they will be lending again, but they'll be quite selective with their loans. I know a lot of the UK banks already pulled back at 60% loan to value on properties in the UK. So I think you'll see a lot of measures like that where, yes, they'll lend, but it won't be reckless lending like it was in sort of 06, 07, which led to the 08 crash.
So you probably invest worldwide. You're not. I mean, you're very open to investing different areas of the world, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the company's global private equity, and my podcast, which I've just launched, is the Global Dealmaker, because I'm dealing with people in the US, in Canada, in Australia, South Korea, the UAE, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai, Germany, all over Europe and the UK. So I'm literally I am all over the world with either investors or deal makers.
I don't think you sleep very much, do you?
The problem I've got is people like Crystal messaging me at 3 a.m. UK time. I'm going to buy her a world clock. Find out when her birthday is. Buy her a world clock and stick it on. Daniel needs to put that on the wall in the bedroom. Say, I'm going to message Paul. Hang on a minute. 2:30, 3 a.m. in the UK. So, I might wait a few hours.
I promise you that I check on my phone now before I text you and see what time it's.
I wish it was just you though, Crystal. I wish it was just you. It's virtually every single night I get a message from the States. It's that's life. That's life.
So what would you tell people out there right now? Do you have a top 10 or top 5 things that you think are good places to put your money or not put your money?
I think for right now, I mean, if you look at Warren Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway are kind of the company like a role model, but they're obviously a lot bigger than we are. But we look at their business model and their methodology and their strategies, and where Warren Buffett is holding on to $122 billion worth of cash